Happy Friday, everyone. Can you believe it? We are already 1 month into the 2013 EFL season. We have seen some great action so far, but even better action is upon us right here in the Eastern Football League. It's time for the Friday preview, all thanks to Inside Football, the must-read for the fair dinkum footy fan. I'm Ben Waterworth. I'll be your host this afternoon here at EFL House, and joining me, three very esteemed members of the EFL media team. Let's start with the wise man of the team, Ray Baird. Good to see you, Ray.
Good afternoon, Benny. It's great to be here at EFL House on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, always good to be at EFL House on a Friday afternoon. Great to see Damien Watson here as well. Good afternoon to you, Damo.
Pleasure to be here, Benny. Looking forward to a big weekend of footy.
And also looking forward to a big weekend of footy. Making his debut on the Inside Football Friday preview this afternoon is the excited one, Billy Vickers. Hello, Billy.
I certainly am excited, Benny. Can't wait to talk a bit of EFL footy with you.
Well, let's start with Division 4, Billy, and let's start with the first game in Division 4, which will be Sylvan taking on Park Orchards. The Cats, a couple of good wins in the past couple of weeks, whereas the Sharks will be very keen to get a W on the board very soon.
That's right, Benny. Opposite fortunes, really, in this one, with Sylvan fourth on the ladder at 3-1, and Park Orchards down on 8th at 1-3. Sylvan are really rolling along at the moment. They're looking really good. They just got up over Nunawading last weekend, and Park Orchards, unfortunately, a big loss to Kilsyth. For Sylvan, the Newing brothers, they've been the talk of the Eastern Suburbs Footy League this week. They're popping up everywhere. Daniel DeLesso as well. They're a really big side. They're a really physical side, Sylvan. So I think they could be dominant. Park Orchards, I like Leon Hollower. He's going to have to stand up there. Christian Verher, sparkling form this year, and also Julian Bastistella. He needs a big game if Park Orchards can stand up. I'm thinking certainly Sylvan to win this one by 5 goals, Benny.
Raymondo, let's have a look at Surrey Park and the Eastern Lions. The Panthers got a bit of a Division 4 reality check last weekend, but they'll probably go into this game against the Eastern Lions as favourites.
Yeah, look, for Eastern Lions to be a force this season, they have to beat the sides above them on the ladder. And tomorrow they come up against one of those sides in Surrey Park. At this stage of the season, though, it's hard to judge where they are exactly at with one win and 2 losses. In their 2 losses, though, they've been exposed by teams in Park Orchards and Ferntree Gully who like to take the ball wide and run with it. Whereas the Eastern Lions, they have bigger bodies, and the core of their side, having come from the Southern Football League, play that stop-start style of football. But having said that, they have had some great goal kickers down there in Dolonkovic, Want and Church, who are in good form, backed up by Bailey, Cowan, Murphy and Temple. But tomorrow they come up against Surrey Park, who along with Kilsyth have been the big improvers this season. Although Surrey Park went down last week and only kicked 12 goals for the game, they still had 8 individual goal kickers, which would be pleasing sign to their coach Andrew Toop. I feel that the improvement of players like Matt Jeffries, Seamus Herrick, Liam Doige, and the inclusion of Luke Conker into their side, that they'll be too good at home for the Lions. Surrey Park by 50 points.
Interesting proposition tomorrow afternoon, Damo, with Coldstream and Canterbury meeting up there at Arctic Park at Coldstream Recreation Reserve. 2 teams coming off the bye last weekend.
That's right, and they'll certainly be refreshed, but this is essentially the battle of the cellar dwellers, Betty. They are both winless, and they'll be very desperate, both sides, to get their account going in season 2013. Canterbury lost to South Belgrade by 39 points a couple of weeks ago in what was a relatively gallant performance against a strong Division 4 side. They stayed with them throughout the day. Toff was very good with 3 goals, and Blackham and Giles and those sort of players will need to lift if the Cobras are going to win tomorrow. As for Coldstream, they lost by 56 points, of course, in that infamous clash against Surrey Park a couple of weeks ago, and they were very disappointing. Jake Usler was really their sole shining light. He booted 3 goals and was certainly their best in that particular match. I'd have to go for Coldstream in this particular game, purely on the home ground advantage.
Interesting clash between 2 of the big boys of Division 4 tomorrow, William. Forest Hill take on Ferntree Gully. You saw the Zebras a couple of weeks ago, and they let slip a game they really should have won, and they run into a Ferntree Gully side who is hot, hot, hot.
That's right, Benny. Ferntree Gully, they've been extremely dominant all year. They're sitting up the top of the ladder. They're comfortable on second position. 4 straight wins for the Ferntree Gully Football Club. Forest Hill, look, I have seen, as you said previously, I've seen them this year. They have looked really good in patches. I think they just need to put 4 solid quarters together. They're 1-2 for the year. They're coming off the bye last week. They've got a good little forward line that's just starting to take shape. Nathan Jamo has been a really good find for the club this season. Ashley Nolte as well up forward. I really like Joey Griffiths off half back for the Forest Hill Zebras. And look, I think they actually could be a chance, but I think Ferntree Gully is going to be too strong all across the board this weekend, but I think it's going to be a close one.
Arguably game of the round in Division 4 this weekend, Raymondo, is the mighty rampaging Cougars of Kilsyth. They take on South Belgrave. We'll find out a lot about the Cougars tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, look, I class this as the battle of the two undefeated sides. Look, Kilsyth, they're the big improvers in Division 4 this year. They've had great service from Jay Sherlock and Jordan Chen all up forward, and these are two players that South Belgrave will have to watch because they can be match winners on the day. Also in good form are Robert Ward, Travis Browning, Dan Williams, Harley Thomas and Jamie Haig. And coach Simon Caldwell, he's been full of praise for his very young side, but they come up against the flag favourites in Division 4, South Belgrave, who had a test last week against Surrey Park, and they'll be tested again tomorrow. Don't worry about that. But look at their side. Alex Bacon's 21 goals for the season, Lee Odom at 11 goals, two big goal kickers for South Belgrave. Then you add Lucas Appleby to that. He's back into the side last week. And look, and also last week they had a spread of 12 goal kickers. Then there's Nick Stowe, Bradley Condor, Mark Haley, Brady O'Loughlin, Jared Drew and Harry O'Neill. Look, are all great players. Look, I believe that Kilsyth, they'll be competitive for 2 or 3 quarters, but then the cream will rise to the top, South Belgrave by 50 plus points.
There you have it, Division 4 done and dusted for another week of the Inside Football Friday preview. Of course, the Friday preview, all thanks to Inside Football, the must-read for the fair income footy fan. Pick up a copy at your local Woolworths or newsagents, or you can download on your iPhone or iPad. Let's have a look at Division 3. Some 6 big games across all of Division 3 this weekend. And Damo, the first one we're going to have a look at is Warrandyte and Ringwood. The Bloods hosting a disappointing Redbacks outfit. It has to be said that the Redbacks would certainly be keen for a victory tomorrow afternoon.
Well, they certainly are, Benny. The Redbacks, in my opinion, have been underwhelming this season. Huge expectations upon them in 2013 with various new arrivals. Their key players in the Burmeister brothers and Katsiavos, who booted 4 goals in their 44-point loss to Doncaster last week. They have to be pivotal to their if they're going to win this weekend. They're pivotal players for their side in Ringwood. As for Warrandyte, they lost comprehensively by 88 points to Wantirna South last week, and they were equally as disappointing. But Dunn has proven a worthy goal kicker for the Bloods. He booted 3 goals last week, and he'll be imperative to their efforts on the weekend. Having said that, I think Ringwood can lift themselves out of the mire and prevail tomorrow afternoon.
Billy, the Sharks are hot to trot and they're right behind you and they're led by Nathan Thompson. Churnside Park travel out to Shrams Reserve tomorrow afternoon to face the Sharks. Are the Panthers any hope, or should this be another Shark demolition?
Oh, look, you're absolutely right, Benny. They are hot to trot with Nathan Thompson. 28 goals this year. Can you believe it? I thought it might have been a little error on the page, but it's not. He has been devastating for Doncaster, and they are certainly on the march. Second position, 3-1. However, Churnside Park got the crucial victory last weekend against the Whitehorse Pioneers. I don't mind him. Stephen Seghetti, he's got 9 goals for the season. Anthony Bernardo, he's been impressive with his efforts as well. However, we all come back to this one man, the former Hawks and North Melbourne superstar, Nathan Thompson. So they've got to find someone to shut him down. I do think it's going to be Doncaster this weekend by 5 goals.
Let's have a look at the Whitehorse Pioneers and Templestowe, Ray, out at the new look Springfield Park. The club room's looking great. The on-field team of the Pioneers not looking so great, though. Can Templestowe get over the line here?
I think they can, Ben. Templestowe, they were disappointing last week at Mitcham, but tomorrow they have another chance to redeem themselves at Springfield Park. One shining light that they would have got out of last week's game was the form of Adam Priagestacoma. I thought that he was best on ground in a losing side, and he'll be a real danger for the Pioneers. Add to that the goal-kicking powers of the Bain boys, particularly Jamie, backed by the in-form Matthew Lepardi, Jeremy Millard and Paul Fiorenzi, and after his poor performance last week, Simon Grasser, he can only get better.
Oh, yes.
Look, Whitehorse, look, they came off a disappointing 1-point loss to Churnside after a very good 5-2 last quarter, but unfortunately just failing short of the mark. They were serviced well last week by James McGrath, 5 goals, Mark Ryan and Sam Muggleton kicked 2 each, and Tom Connell, Luke Posty, Aaron Mate and Tim Law. They were all great players for for the Pioneers. But Tony Pataka, he would know that they need to lift all over the ground to have any chance against Templestowe. It's Templestowe for mine.
Well, Damo, Heathmont weren't expected to be too high on the ladder, but can you believe it? They've won their past 3 consecutive games, and they take on a hot Wantirna South tomorrow afternoon. This might be an interesting contest.
It will be a very intriguing game at H.E. Parker Reserve. Heathmont, look, they were very, very good. Over the last few weeks, they have surprised a lot of pundits in the Eastern Football League, as you mentioned, with 3 consecutive victories, and they defeated the Glen Waverley Hawks in a pulsating contest once again last week by 2 points in a thriller, which proves they can certainly remain composed in tight matches. O'Driscoll and Knudsen booted 3 goals apiece, and they'll be integral to the Jets' efforts tomorrow afternoon. On the other side of the coin, Wantirna South, haven't they been impressive in Division 3 this season? I remember they showed good signs in the second half of last season, and that has permeated into 2013, but really their avenue to goal really does rely on those potent key forwards. Daniel Badone booting 7 goals last week, and Papa with 6 goals, and I think they'll aid Wantirna South to a victory tomorrow afternoon.
Billy, tomorrow it's the Battle of the Hawks. Hawk off 5 as the Boronia Hawks take on the Glen Waverley Hawks. 2 sides who are expected to do very well in 2013, but don't find themselves at the right end of the ladder at the moment.
That's exactly right, Ben. They're both going to be very disappointing coming off this one, especially Boronia coming off a heartbreaking loss to their close rivals, the Basin, last weekend, and also Glen Waverley. Look, they've been a bit of a sorry story this season. Unfortunately, 0-4 going into it. However, I think it could be a pretty good time to come across Boronia. They're going to be hurting after last week, and they did show a few good signs last week. Glen Waverley, I really like Jaron Dewar, who he's a mid and he plays on the wing. I think he's an absolute gun, and if he can stand up and if he can get a bit of the footy, he can be very effective. Luke Scanlon has been impressive in that role as well, and also Matthew Kennelly must keep kicking goals. Boronia, Mark Williams and Jason Heath both performing really well up front this season. Also, I'll single out Dean Grice and Jess Bolton all over the park doing really well. I'm going to go against the grain here, Ben. I think it could be Glen Waverley in a really close one for their first win, 3 points.
The Division 3 game of the round tomorrow afternoon, Ray. We've left this in your wise, capable hands. It's the Basin hosting Mitcham out at Batterham Reserve. Mitcham, for the first time in a long time, have become the hunted, and the Basin will be hunting the Tigers tomorrow.
Yeah, look, this game is huge for the Basin. It will tell us just where the Basin is at in Division 3. They come up against top of the ladder undefeated Mitcham, who I saw last week demolish Templestowe in fine style. At this stage, they are still an unknown quantity, as in their 4 games so far, they have played teams below them on the ladder. And out of those teams, they only defeated Boronia last week by 1 solitary point. But they've had 2 great forwards this season in Andy Colchera and Brent Galicio, and with the season that they had last year, you just can't write them off. One huge plus for them tomorrow is that the game is at Batterham Park, an unknown territory for Mitcham. Then we look at Mitcham, a side that dictates a game and plays it on their terms. They've had great service this year from their captain Jared Whitnish, Julian Petraka, Jared Andrietta and Trevor Batchelor, and let's not forget Steve Pym, who gives them a focal point down there at full forward. They like to run the ball out wide, but at Batterham they may be restricted, and I feel that they will be too big, too strong and too good. Mitcham easily for mine.
There you have it, all 6 games in Division 3, nicely previewed by you gentlemen. You're listening to the Friday preview, all thanks to Inside Football, the Fair Dinkum read for the Fair Dinkum footy fan. Let's have a look at the games in Division 2, 5 games in Division 2 as always. And the first match we're going to have a look at is Mooroolbark against Upper Ferntree Gully. Damien Watson taking care of this one. Mooroolbark have been a little bit disappointing across the first 4 weeks of the season. However, Coach Brett Fisher did say pre-season that he was expecting a slow start to the year. Having said that, Upper Gully only kicked a goal last week.
That's absolutely correct, Benny. Mustangs, look, this is a vital game in the context of Mooroolbark's season, and that was highlighted by a 37-point loss to North Ringwood last week. That puts extra pressure on them for this particular game, and they must win tomorrow afternoon over Upper Ferntree Gully. A total of 6 goals, 12 is immensely unacceptable, I think, and they need to improve from an accuracy perspective. Armstrong and Preston also need to lift for Burrell Bark if they're going to prevail tomorrow afternoon. Having said that, you speak of appalling totals. Upper Ferntree Gully, 1-5 is ridiculous in a game of football. It needs to be said. I must admit it was against Montrose, who are the premiership favourites in Division 2, but you just wonder where their goals are going to come from and how they're going to win out of the midfield. That's another concern for their side, and you'd have to go for Burrell Bark tomorrow afternoon.
Montrose take on Croydon tomorrow afternoon, Ray, in what should be an interesting clash, particularly for the latter. The Blues will find out just how good they are when they come up against the Division 2 Kings.
Yeah, what does one say about Montrose's performance last week? They strangled the life out of Upper Ferntree Gully to the tune of 130 points and only conceding 1 goal. An extraordinary scoreline. After being the bridesmaid for the last 2 years, they are certainly a team on a mission. Billy Schilling, Sam Goodman, they just keep kicking goals, and now you can add to that Daniel Demetrio come across from Murrelbar and Rowan Hall. They have stars all over the ground, led by their captain coach Brett Johnson, Dean Stephen, Heath Beninga and many more. But tomorrow they come up against a much stronger opposition in Croydon, who come off a 32-point win over Doncaster East. Although not having been spectacular, they've been getting the job done each week and were well serviced last week by Ficcarelli, Higgins, Hoffman, Kimpton, and have a key figure up forward in Brendan Weirnert. And I like the ruck work of Tim Green and Will Gordon, and with Josh Bolton at their feet picking up the crumbs, they can look very good at times. Premierships are not won in May, but I believe that if any side in Division 2 can match it with Montrose, Croydon could be that side come September. But tomorrow is here and now, and on current form, one would have to pick Montrose, but only by 20 points.
North Ringwood have come up into Division 2, Billy, and are looking nice and settled. They take on Bayswater tomorrow, who should be full of confidence after registering their first win for 2013 last weekend.
That's right. The Waters absolutely smashing the Waverley Blues last weekend. However, they are coming up against the rampaging North Ringwood, who did a job on Murrell Bark as well. So we do have certainly a cracking upcoming Divi 2 game. Waters will be definitely hungry for the win here. They're 1-3. So this one could really start shaping their season and make a bit of a statement. North Ringwood, my crucial factors has got to be Tom Hill. He's the leading goal kicker at the club at the moment with 18 goals. We know he's a gun. He was on the Dogs rookie list last season, so he's come across, and just have a look for him. Jack Wheeland, he started really well. He's got 9 goals as well, so I look to him to be prominent. And Benny, we love this kid, James Dean.
Oh, yes,
Dino. The young gun, look for him to feature prominently as well. With the Waters, I like Wayne McInerney with 12 goals this season, and Sean Leach has been a huge improver and one of the best all year. Excellent to getting the pill, and he will be prominent. However, I think North Ringwood are on the march at the moment. They're going to be too strong. Maybe just 3 goals, 18 points this one.
Donvale has found some form in recent weeks, Damo, but one team who will be looking to find some form tomorrow is the Waverley Blues, who currently sit zip and 4. It's the Vales against the Blues.
Well, no question about that, Benny. Donvale have displayed pleasing form over the last few weeks, and that was characterised by a 50-point victory over a very disappointing Mulgrave side last week, and that will instill confidence within the Donvale side, in particular Murphy, who booted 6 goals, and he's proven that intimidating focal point up forward. Whittaker is also in good form, and they should start tomorrow. As for the Waverley Blues, as you mentioned, they're winless on the bottom of the table, and look, a 64-point loss to Bayswater, who are only 1 spot ahead of them coming into that game, is a very disappointing result for Brett Davidson and his men. But players like McDonald and Playstead need to emerge and exert their influence on the game if they have any glimmer of hope tomorrow. It's Donvale for mine.
Get your raw ready, Ray, because it's the Battle of the Lions tomorrow. Who will be the Lion King, Mulgrave Lions or the Doncaster East Lions?
Look, both these sides have been disappointing to say the least, but one has a chance to redeem themselves tomorrow. Doncaster East are coming off a 32-point loss to Croydon, whereas Mulgrave are coming off a 50-point loss to Donvale. Look, it's hard to see where goals for both sides are going to come from. For Doncaster East, they've got to get more out of big Billy Morrison up forward, but the return last week of their captain Lee Murphy, now with 1 game under his belt, will definitely strengthen their midfield. For Mulgrave to win, they'll have to run the ball out wide and use the pace of Jamer, Sekulis and Adam G, and reap the rewards of Alan Cleven at the clearances. But look, Mulgrave for me in a very low-scoring event.
Nice work, gents. Division 2 nicely previewed there. You're listening to the Friday preview, all thanks to Inside Football, the must-read for the fair dinkum footy fan. Pick up a copy at your local newsagents, Woolworths, or download on your iPhone or iPad. Righto, gents, let's have a look at the big boys of Division 1. And there's none much bigger at the moment than Vermont, who are in a bit of form at the moment, William. They travel out to Moreton Park to take on Blackburn tomorrow. The Burners, they're also in some pretty good form as well.
That's right, Ben. Vermont, what can we say? We saw them last week on the radio game and they were in astonishing form. However, I think they're going to need to have a few improvements if they're gonna do a job on Blackburn, who are sitting fourth at the moment at 3-1. They're going nicely. So for Vermont, Ash Froud, we saw him last week. He kicked 7 goals. He doesn't need to improve, but he needs to continue. That was an astonishing performance. A lot has been spoken about this young boy, Tom Schneider. The coach, Chris Barlow, he singled him out after the game. He said, look, his attack on the footy was outstanding. However, he just needs to work on his disposal. And if he can do that this week, look, the Vermont Football Club are going to be pretty unstoppable, as well as Ryan Mullett, the captain. He was pretty quiet last week, I thought. So that hopefully they'll get a bit out of him. Blackburn, Ben Fraser, 2011 goal kicker. He did a bit of a sabbatical over to WA last year, and he's come back this season absolutely dominating. I also like Jack Lewis of the Blackburn Footy Club, Leader Young Gun Award, round 1 this year. They're going to be hard to beat. I think it's going to be Blackburn to continue by 30 points.
Ooh. Top versus bottom tomorrow, Damo. The bottom side in East Burwood host the top side in Baldwin, but East Burwood really haven't been playing like a bottom side in the past couple of weeks. They've really pushed a couple of teams.
Well, that is true, Benny. On paper, you couldn't get a starker contrast or a bigger mismatch than this one. East Burwood hosting Baldwin tomorrow afternoon at East Burwood Reserve. Having said that, East Burwood, mind you, they have been winless, but it was a gallant 10-point loss to Norwood last week, and I think they were admirable in their efforts in that particular game. Cosgrove and McPhee were their best, and they have to replicate those efforts tomorrow afternoon. As for Baldwin, they did what they had to do against Rowville with a 29-point victory. A great win there for the Tigers, and they remain undefeated, an unblemished record once again. And it's those players who repeatedly are in the best every week. Tregear with 4 goals, Goebbels and Barker booting 3 apiece. And the Rams really need to contain and negate those players if they're going to have any chance tomorrow afternoon. So it's Baldwin for mine.
Feathers are sure to fly tomorrow afternoon, Ray-Ban, when local birds, the Pies and the Hawks of the Scoresby and Rowville variety, clash at the Scoresby Recreation Reserve. This should be a match full of emotion.
Yeah, look, Rowville are coming off an honourable loss to their reigning premiers Baldwin last week, and Scoresby, they had a 3-point victory over East Wingwood, their first for the season. But Scoresby coach Sean Kavanagh says he's certainly playing the kids. Last week's performance by Scoresby included 10 players with 4 or less games experience, and they've already used 30 players in 4 games, the most in the EFL. Ben Bongrease has been a focal point up forward, and Adam Parker and David Marcius have been dominant in the midfield, leading the way for the young guys. Reece Van Reenen has stepped up in the rucks with the absence of his brother Luke. Although Scoresby are a very young side, Rowville will have to be aware of the players just mentioned. Rowville's strength in this game will be the way they work together as a team. Having played 50 or 60 games together and also a premiership, they're a tight unit. And with Cody Morris 17 goals and Nathan Hicks 10 goals up forward, and Alex Frawley, Matt Davey and ex-Magpie Lucas Gibbons with Adam Zigerink across the midfield, I believe Rowville will be too strong and too much firepower. Rowville by 40 points.
Noble Park return to the Pat Wright Senior Oval for the second week in a row tomorrow afternoon, Billy, as they host the Falcons of the Lilydale variety, who got a good victory over their fellow Falcons last weekend. This might not be an easy task for the Bulls.
That's right, Ben. An absolutely outstanding contest. I'm absolutely salivating with this one. Both teams at 2-2 for the season, 5th and 6th on the ladder. It's a crucial game for both clubs. This one, Noble Park, as we know, a really tough loss at home last week. They're going to want to turn it around this week. I'm looking forward to see George Angelopoulos, the absolute firecracker. He's going to be really fired up, and I'd like to see a little bit more from Craig Anderson out of the Noble Park Football Club. We know he's a gun. He needs to lead from the front. It's also going to be interesting. Bob and Stewie Kemperman, they both suffered a little bit last week with injuries. Whether they come up will be absolutely crucial for the Noble Park Football Club. As for the Falcons, Ben Waitman, what can we say? 12 goals this year coming across from Port Melbourne VFL Club. And I'd also like to single out Marcus Hotties. He's absolutely fit this season, ready to go. He's been outstanding all over the ground a wonderful competitor. Look for him to be extremely prominent in this game. I think it's going to be Noble Park. They're going to be hungry by 12 points.
It's the battle of the two immovable objects of Division 1 tomorrow, Damien Watson, with Norwood hosting Knox out at Mullum Reserve.
Yes, this will be a ripping matchup, Benny. Norwood defeating the Rams by an unconvincing 10-point margin, it has to be said, and they have to perform a lot better if they're going to account for Knox tomorrow afternoon. Of course, Blackie booted 3 goals last week for the Norsemen, and Jordan was best on ground, and those players need to replicate that performance tomorrow. And David Trotter, I believe he's a valuable component for the Norwood side. Obviously, he was a high draft pick at AFL level, and he's come down from Canada recently, and I think will be integral to the Norwood side's efforts tomorrow afternoon. As for Knox, they received a reality check last weekend. Lilydale ripped through their defensive game style, and they lost by 20 points. Having said that, Scott Davis booted 5 goals, and he's a key figure up forward for the Falcons. And Liam Kenny, I must mention, he's a youngster. He played very, very well last week. He was one of their best. But for mine, I'd have to go with Norwood for the home ground advantage.
And Ray, the final game we'll have a look at in Division 1 is tomorrow's radio game. East Ringwood taking on South Croydon. This will be live on 98.1 Radio Eastern FM from 1 till 6 p.m. and streaming on efl.org.au. Ray, a big day for both clubs, but particularly for East Ringwood.
Look, it certainly is, Ben. Look, East Ringwood, they're desperate for their first win, and South Croydon, they need to win to get back on the winners list after 2 losses to Roval and Blackburn, possibly 2 wins that they would have penciled in pre-season. South Croydon, they would be disappointed with their last quarter last week against Blackburn, conceding 8 goals to 5 and costing them the game. But they've had a great service in recent weeks from Jamie Crow, Grattan Stevens and Liam Cox up forward, and Nick Molnar, Anthony Descent, Dan Coughlin and Glenn Strawn further up the field. Whereas East Ringwood's form hasn't been too bad. Although they haven't been winning games, they're winning most games up until 3/4 time. They've had the hardest draw in Division 1 this season, playing Balwyn, Norwood, Noble Park and Scoresby. That's 4 of the finalists from last year's. Andrew Renton has been a driving force in the ruck, and if he can get on top of Grattan Stevens and give first use to his midfield in the likes of Tony Van Ruin, Matt Sharp and their coach Bernie Deneen, they'll go a long way in achieving a result in their favour. Evan Fedonis has been lively up forward, and Joel Perry, he's a rock of Gibraltar in their back line. Look, he's been named in their best every week so far, Joel Perry. Look, East Ringwood to register their first win in a 98.1 radio game in a very close encounter.
Great work, gentlemen. All games done and dusted and nicely preview across the EFL tomorrow. Of course, this has been the Friday preview, all thanks to Inside Football, the must-read for the fair dinkum footy fan. Pick up a copy at your local newsagents or download on your iPhone or iPad. Quick reminder, as Ray just said, 98.1 FM tomorrow is the place to be from 1 till 6 p.m. East Ringwood against South Croydon for the Glen Mason Shield, all thanks to the Bendigo Bank. Looking forward to getting out there and calling that one. Of course, don't forget Akira EFL Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for a full review of all matches, and we chat to some of the successful winning coaches. And never forget the Mighty Huddle on a Wednesday night, 6 to 7 p.m. on 98.1 Radio Eastern. Gents, it's been an absolute pleasure. Ray, looking forward to getting out and seeing some games tomorrow. Which game are you going to head out to tomorrow?
Well, I'm at the radio game, Ben, thank you.
I should know that, shouldn't I?
You should have known that. It's been a long day here on a Friday afternoon.
Certainly has. Good on you, Ray. Thanks for all your work, and also thanks to Damien Watson. You'll also be out at the radio game roaming the boundary.
No worries, Benny. I'll be looking forward to it.
And Billy, you'll be heading out to see Scoresby and Roval tomorrow afternoon. Should be a big day out there at Scoresby Recreation Reserve.
That's exactly right. I'll be touching base with you throughout the contest. Can't wait for the weekend, Ben.
This has been the Friday preview. I've been Ben Waterworth, and as a wise man once said,
stick a fork in us, we're done.